Hello, everyone. Thanks for taking a look at my first free course, which is a blueprint to launch your creative career. Okay, so a little bit about myself, quick presentation. I am Alvaro, a motion graphic designer with over 5 years of experience. First, I worked in an animation studio called Fern. You can check it out. And then I went full time freelance, and I've been working as a freelance for 2 years, working with clients all over the world, all around the world. And the reason I wanted to put out this guide is because I know how confusing it can be when you're just first starting your career. Okay, there's a lot of information out there in the internet, but sometimes it can be overwhelming. You end up with 20,000 tabs. You don't know where to look at. You have a lot of references. People are telling like different stuff, so it can be chaotic. So I just really wanted to put out this guide with the main key points, important key points that I have seen during my career that can be really helpful for people that are just starting out. Okay. By the way, this guide is based on my experience. So it's based on the motion graphic industry, but it can also be applied to other creative fields, for example, like illustration, video editing, or even music production. Okay, so let's dive right in. First of all, what do you need to do when you're starting or when you want to start your creative career? First, you need to craft your artistic skills. This sounds quite obvious, okay? But how do you do this? You need to be taking a look at a lot of references. This point is actually quite overlooked for a lot of people. They want to start their career and they just start already like trying to do stuff. But it's really important just to submerge yourself in the world that you want to take part in. So, build a strong library in your head by searching the best work in your field. You need to take a look at a lot of inspiration, okay? You can use Behance, you can use Pinterest, you can use YouTube. And always think worldwide, not local. So think about the best that you can find. It doesn't have to be in your town or locally, but just worldwide. If you're going to work in any industry, first you need to know who and where the top players in your field are. Okay, so for example, for the motion graphic industry, which is the one that I'm in, I looked at a lot of studios, tons of studios, and these are some that I really like their work and that they've been a great reference for me. I encourage you to do the same. Just take a look at the 20 top people or companies in your space and just, yeah, take a really good look at all of their work. Okay. It's very, very important to spend a lot of time in this stage as it lays the foundation for future growth. If you don't have in your head what quality work looks like, how are you going to create it yourself? Okay, so very important. Have this in your mind. Second step, it's learning. Again, it's quite obvious, but how do you learn? There's a lot of available resources nowadays, free resources and paid resources. You could also go to the traditional way. For example, taking a master's degree. I did this myself, and although it helped a lot, I studied my master's at SCAD. But I know plenty of people who are self-taught. They've just learned, looking at courses online, maybe, and they have landed pretty awesome jobs as well. So no need to go the traditional way. You can do it if you want, but there's no obligation. Here are some free YouTube channels where you can learn a lot about motion graphics. So you can check those out. And also, here are some courses. You probably may know Domestika, but they have some really good courses about different fields and different creative fields. I took a couple of courses and I learned so much. So I would highly encourage you to take a look. And they're super cheap, the courses right now. I think they're on discount as well. Also, School of Motion. It's a super great resource, a little bit more expensive, but I haven't done any courses there myself. But I know plenty of people who have taken the courses and they're very happy with it. So you can check it out too if you want. Okay, next. How do you continue to progress in crafting your skills? you need to execute. Okay, execute is basically copying all the time. It's the best way to learn. Us as humans have evolved to learn everything from birth by copying and imitating. So we imitate all the time. That's how we learn to walk. That's how we learn to talk. That's how we learn everything. So when you're seeing the tutorials, for example, these free resources, always try to copy what you're seeing in those tutorials. Don't just watch it and that's it. Try to do it at the same time that the person is explaining. All right. Also, copy other people's work all the time. Copy the work you see online on the references, just as an exercise, of course. Just don't go and try to sell it afterwards. But it's great. It's a great way of learning, just to copy as much as you can. The fourth step to continue developing your creative skills, it's self-reflection. This is another point that's very overlooked. Okay. um, it's very important to judge your own work, to be able to reflect on it and see what things are not looking great. Okay, knowing where you could improve, it's one of the most important aspects to grow. It's especially quite difficult at the beginning because you're looking your work and you don't really know what you might know that it's not great, but you might not know why it looks like doesn't look that good. This is why it's very important to work with other people that have more experience in the industry. For example, us in the Skool Community, we have a module for feedback in your work, which can accelerate this process. Okay, people that have already experience, they can tell you where your work is lacking. Okay, if you don't know what's wrong, you cannot improve. Basic. So it's important to spend enough time crafting your skills before creating a portfolio. I see this, a lot of people do this, that they maybe want to get inside animation, inside illustration, and they do it just for a few weeks or for a few days, and they already start sharing all of the work. And I personally recommend to spend just a few months really really crafting your skills, doing tutorials, like doing courses, practicing a lot before you start sharing your work. You don't have to be Picasso, you don't have to put 10,000 hours like they say, but um, at least have some nice work that you can start sharing. Okay, so next step, you ready to show your work to everyone. So the best way to do this is by creating a portfolio. Whether you want to be a freelancer, have your brand, or be a creative employee, for example, just working on a studio, you absolutely need a strong portfolio. In the creative industry, people will quickly judge your capabilities based on the quality of your work. That's harsh truth, but it's like that. They will quickly judge based on what they see. Or if you were in the sound industry, based on what they hear. Okay, so the best way to create a portfolio, I highly recommend, is to have a website. Is the best way. However, there are other free alternatives you can use. For example, uploading your work to Behance or to Instagram or to Dribble. But if you can create a website, you can use the following platforms. You can use Squarespace, Wix, or Card. So creating a personal logo is very important for your branding. Branding is actually like the personality of your of your brand. Um, it's like, how do I put it? It's like what sets you apart from other people that are doing the same. You need to have some personality, some differentiation, something that others are gonna see and are gonna remember that. Okay, so for example, creating a logo, super important for this. I highly recommend it. Oh, and one portfolio tip, just upload your best work to your site. Okay, showing older or less quality work could damage the perception of your brand. This is something I personally did wrong when I was starting out. I put every work I had, some works that were old, other works that didn't really match the style that I was creating anymore. So this is not good. Just remember that quality is better than quantity. You rather have just like three, four, five works rather than just a lot of works that are not looking that great. Okay, perfect. So, how do we find opportunities? There are plenty of opportunities, but the world is huge and sometimes so much information can be overwhelming. like I said at the beginning. So, where do we look at? There are specific platforms where you can find remote work opportunities as a freelancer. Okay, starting on these platforms is not as easy as people think. People think, okay, yeah, go on Upwork, go on Fiverr, you're going to find your clients so soon. It's not like this. It took me at least 2 months to find my first client. And I have a friend that it took him even more time to find his first client. Okay, so it will take time, but it will pay off. It's a good way to start to get the ball rolling and to find your first clients. Okay, so here are some examples of such platforms: Upwork, Fiverr, TopTal, and Working Not Working. Like I said, I personally used Fiverr for a while, and it enabled me to get my first clients. And now I have a client list thanks to this platform. A tip: I would recommend charging low prices at first, uh, just because it allows the clients to take less risk. And then once you build a nice relationship, and your work improves, you can start increasing the prices in your catalog. Another important thing is to have good descriptions. Being able to write good text, to put out good copy, is a crucial skill. Okay, so here's the link to my gig. This is the place where I explain my proposal of my gig. You can check it out. You can see the text that helped me work with over 50 clients in the span of 2 years. Don't copy that same text exactly, but it can give you a reference of what to write. The best strategy is to try and find recurring clients and form relationships. It's much more profitable than one-time clients. Because getting one-time clients all the time, sometimes there's a lot of friction and it's not as efficient. Okay, so what about if you don't want to be a freelancer, if you want to work inside a studio or inside a company as a creative? Okay, in that case, you can start searching for job offers in platforms like LinkedIn or Indeed. You can also get in touch with companies directly via email or via message. Find the staff that works on those companies and send them a message through LinkedIn. Present yourself, talk to them in an organic and genuine way. You can do a list of 50, 100, even maybe 200 companies that interest you, and then email them your work. It's very important to always do a lot of research. Where do you think your services will be needed? Okay, open an Excel and start adding companies and emails. The next step, just to continue networking. Whether you want to be a freelance, launch your own brand, or work for a studio, networking is essential. You can start by just posting your work regularly on social media and share posts about your workflow on LinkedIn. People like this type of content. Okay, you just post what you've been doing and write stories about the things that you learned, about the process that you did, about difficulties that you encountered while working on this project. Yeah, and definitely just telling a story will get people engaged in your posts. Also, connect with other people in your field. Just be nice, send messages to other people. Like if you like someone's work, just send them a message and tell them, hey, love this stuff that you did. Complimenting people and talking to people on these platforms goes a long way. Okay, really opens up your network. But remember to always be genuine. People can tell when you are being fake and you're just looking for something and you are not really interested in building a genuine connection. This is actually a bad example of a message that someone sent me the other day on LinkedIn. I'm not going to say who it was, it's anonymous, but the message went something like this: hey, I am blah, blah, blah. Please check out my portfolio, and a bunch of links, like, I don't know, probably like 10 links or 8 links. So do not do this. This is not a good way to engage a conversation with someone that you don't know. Here's a better example instead. Hello, I have seen your work and I really like it, especially this video. I would love to connect with you. How did you learn motion graphics? All right. So I cannot guarantee that you will get 100% reply rate, but certainly you will get a much higher reply rate than the first message. Another tactic you can use is to add your clients, the clients you started getting on Fiverr here or on Upwork. You start adding them to LinkedIn, for example. Maybe you do a video call with them, to talk about a possible project. Seeing people face to face, it's something that it will get more connection with you and your client, and it can increase the chances, of working together again. And remember, networking is a process. It's not a destination. It's something that you take a little time every day to do. And also, it's a skill. For example, when I started, I really sucked at networking. I wasn't really good. I got a little bit better with the years. Learned to get more clients, but it's definitely something you can learn. And of course, there's people that are very naturally gifted at networking. Other people are more extroverted. Other people are more introverted. But like find what's your best approach. There's people that are really good, for example, at writing emails. There's other people that are better, at just talking face to face. So leverage your skills to increase the chances, of success. So some final notes. Many people think, that being a good creative is just about the skill. It's just about how well can you draw, how well can you edit your videos, how well you can design anything. But it's not. It's not. It's about three main important pillars. Of course, the skill, but also the networking and also the research. Research, again, is super important. So if you follow these steps, there's a high chance you can kick off your creative career and in a few months land your first job or your first client. Okay, don't lose hope. Might take a little bit, but certainly if you have these guidelines, you keep following them, you can continue. All right, you can make it. So thank you so much for for watching this video about the guide to get started in the creative path. If you have any questions, if you have any feedback or anything you want to talk to me, just feel free to reach out to me in my Skool group. And yeah, excited to see what you guys create. See you around.